listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tom Murphy. I'm with Murphy Consulting. Just wanted to welcome you to the webinar today. I know that you'll get a lot out of this because it's some really great information about the new third generation editor and how to use Constant Contact for email marketing. I'd like to just check before we get started to make sure that everyone can see the slides and can hear me okay. For those who are unfamiliar with the GoToWebinar console, over on the right hand side, a couple of things to point out. There's a hand tool, looks like a raised palm of your hand, that you can use to click to respond to any questions I might have, which I'll ask you in just a moment to respond. There's also a questions tool on the right hand side where you can ask questions. I invite you to ask questions throughout the webinar. I'll try to stop every once in a while and answer some questions, but I may not get to answer them all until the end, but I will get them answered for you. If you would right now, if you can hear me okay, just click the hand tool so I can make sure that you can hear me. All right, I see hands coming up. That's really great. Thank you very much. So I guess everybody can hear fine. And if you can see the slide right now that has got my picture in the upper left-hand corner, if you'd click also, I would appreciate that. Great. Thank you again. If during the presentation you lose connection with voice, please send me a question. And I have one person that says she cannot see the slide. Let me make sure that we got everything turned on. All right. Mary, if you would raise your hand if you can see the slide now with my picture in the upper left-hand corner, I would appreciate it. I'm going to change the slide back to the first slide, and let's see if that will change for you. Again, Mary, can you see the initial getting started with Constant Contact email marketing slide? Let me check that out. What you might want to do is log out and go back into the presentation, or give GoToWebinar a call, because others are seeing fine and we'll have to continue on. Sorry that you're not able to see that right now. So let's continue on, and I'm going to go back to the introduction slide of mine, and so you should be able to see that at this point. Sorry for just a second. There we go. My name is Tom Murphy. I'll be your presenter today. I'm with Murphy Consulting Incorporated. The short name for our company is Mercon. We do a couple of things: internet marketing, as you see on the screen, as well as Microsoft Access database development. As far as internet marketing is concerned, we sell and support all of the Constant Contact products that include email, events, surveys, and promotions. We also promote or produce websites for folks all across the country, as well as doing maintenance on those websites as well. But today I'm coming to you as a Constant Contact certified, authorized local expert. Basically what that says is I've been trained to present this material that you're going to see today, and I actually use all of the Constant Contact campaigns, which I'll introduce to you today. Many of you, most of you, are already Constant Contact customers, but I did want to let you know that I do in fact use Constant Contact products in my business. Most of you, from what I see on the registration list, are small businesses. I am a small business as well. I'm doing the same kinds of things that you're trying to do, and that is grow my business. And I try to use as many of the current online tools to do that, Constant Contact being one of them. So I have been through many of the trials and tribulations that you have or are having. So just wanted to let you know that I'm with you as well. All of my contact information is shown on the screen. Please, you'll see this slide at the end again at the end of the presentation, and I will send you a copy of these slides, by the way, and a link to the recorded version of this presentation, so you'll have a way to review it if you would like to. Just because I know there are some who are not Constant Contact customers as yet, I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to talk about Constant Contact services for a moment. Constant Contact has an integrated product experience. You may not have heard it called that before. That's a new terminology for the set of products that Constant Contact offers. They're basically 4 sets of campaigns. One is newsletters and announcements, which is basically email. Offers and promotions, can do all kinds of couponing and Facebook promotions and others. Feedback and surveys includes online surveys, polling, which you can actually put into your emails, and other feedback capabilities. And last but not least, events and registrations, which allows you to do online event registrations, collect fees, sell other related products to your events, and do extensive reporting about those. So those are the 4 components. It's one integrated product experience. Basically all the marketing campaigns, online marketing campaigns, you need together in one place, one login, one place to keep track of your contacts. Very integrated product experience. I will refer to email and email plus as 2 different product sets or packages for Constant Contact. The email package includes newsletters and announcements, basically email marketing. Email plus includes all of the campaigns that you see, and I'll show you a couple others when we get into campaigns. All of our packages include 24/7 toll-free American speaking customer support coaching, actually, from Constant Contact. Probably the one reason out of many that we chose to be a representative for Constant Contact or asked to be a representative was that they offered extensive support, including toll-free coaching. So that's a little bit about Constant Contact. Now, depending on when you started using Constant Contact, your opening screen may look a little different. This is, if you joined Constant Contact prior to April of last year, this is probably what your current dashboard or opening screen looks like. If you joined Constant Contact after that, this may be what your screen looks like. I'll show you it looks a little bit different in the new integrated product set, and those who joined just recently will have the new experience. The editor in the current set of products looks pretty much the same. This is what it looks like in the product prior to the most recent one, but the editor had this kind of look. You'll see today a different look at the editor. One thing I want to assure you of is you do have the ability to switch back and forth between the current editor and the new editor in the new product. So what you currently know now is fine and will work for a long time to come, but I'm sure once you see the new editor, you'll want to use it as well. So let's get started. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the dashboard just briefly, contacts, library, campaigns, create and send an email. We'll spend a lot of time on that. Take a little bit of time to look at some after sending reports, and then have a Q&A at the end. So let's get started. And this is a somewhat scripted but live presentation. So I'm going to go out to my browser, and I am using Chrome, by the way. It seems to work a little bit better with Constant Contact than Internet Explorer if you're using that. So I'll be using Chrome today. So I'm going to log into my user account. And when you log in, you'll get to the dashboard, or the home screen, if you will, for Constant Contact's integrated product. And this is what that looks like across the top. And by the way, we're located in Pendergrass, Georgia, out in the pretty much a rural area of Georgia, about halfway between Atlanta and South Carolina. Internet here is a little bit slow, so please be patient as we go through today. It may be a little slower than I'd like it to be anyway. So this is the dashboard page. I know I'm on the dashboard because up here in the upper left-hand corner is the Constant Contact logo, and I can click on that to get back to the dashboard page. Up across the top, we have the main menu, campaigns, contacts, reporting, and library, and we'll go through each one of those briefly. Something new that's been added is an alert, so that if there's some new information about changes or updates to Constant Contact, you'll see an orange ball right here, or dot, and you can click on that to get the latest information on what's going on with this integrated product set. Question mark takes you to help. On that help screen is the toll-free 24/7 American-speaking coaching staff number, as well as other information that can be of great help to you. And over here is your profile. I'm going to left click on the profile icon, and that gets you to your account, your settings, plans and pricing, and of course being able to log out. Of course, you can log out by just closing the browser as well. So that's kind of what's at the top. I'm going to go to the campaign screen here in a minute, but the remainder of what's on this screen, this is the latest campaign that I ran and the results for it. My other campaigns, recent campaigns, are listed down the center, and then a button to view all of your campaigns. Each of your campaigns obviously has a name, an identifier, and some information and some other actions that you can take. And I'm just going to click on the actions drop down momentarily to show you what other kinds of actions you can take. You can launch advertising, you can copy the campaign, delete it, get details on the campaign that was run, download it, preview it, and this download is in PDF format, by the way. Preview the campaign, look at the reports, resend it, share it, get a short URL for that campaign in case you want to reuse it in some other place like Facebook or LinkedIn, although you can do that automatically here too. So that's what's in that button. Over on the right hand side, create a campaign, and we'll get to that in a minute. Shows you a thumbnail of your contact status, and I have 200 contacts that are loaded in this particular demo account. A drop down to add, and we'll come back to that, contacts, and a button for Signup Tools. If you want to grow your list, Constant Contact provides a whole host of different things that you can use to grow your list, and those are called Signup Tools. I'm not going to go into them in detail, but I would recommend that you look at them, because you can have a sign-up form on your website, have it on your on your Facebook page, and in other places. And then down here at the bottom, again, is a link to guides, FAQs, videos, and the toll-free support number as well. So that's the home page, or the dashboard. I'm going to move right into a couple of things. Usually when I'm going to start a new campaign, a new email, I will start by uploading or managing my contacts. So we're going to look at contacts, and then we're going to look at library, then we're going to come back to campaigns, and then do reporting. So I'm going to go into contacts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on contacts. I just want to show you what is here and point out something about tags, which may be a new topic for many of you. The contacts page gives you your tools for managing your contacts. I do want to point out this sub menu here, and I'm going to close this. So we're in contacts. You can look at reports about your contacts, any activity you've recently had, like uploading contacts, and again, Signup Tools. I do encourage you to look at the Signup Tools. In the contact management area on the left-hand side is a list of my contacts, the lists that I have, and down at the bottom, tags. In the past, you've had the capability to create different lists to segment your contacts. I have a lot of lists. Most of the lists that I use have some date associated with them, like people, folks like yourself who registered for a presentation and attended a presentation. It could be any different kind of lists, and I will point out that you can have the same person contact on multiple lists, and if you send out to all of your lists, that person will only get an email one time, not multiple times. The kind of newer concept on managing your contacts or segmenting them so that you can send the right information to the right people is the use of tags. Tags allow you to categorize a contact. The example that I have here on the left is just I labeled or categorized 34 registrants for a seminar that I did on the March the 22nd, for example. Here there were 3 contacts in all of my lists that are CEOs, so I added a tag for CEO. I also have a tag, and this is just an example. You can have just anything that you want to use, keyword, if you will, for a tag. Just someone who's from the state of Georgia. You can tag people by state. You can tag people by occupation, company, whatever that you would like to do. When you send an email, you can filter the lists that you select to send that email to. You can filter it by tag. So, for example, for this webinar today, there will be some folks who registered who attend and some that don't attend. I'll have one list for the webinar, and when I go to send an email to those that attended, then I will filter by that tag attended, and just so I can send the right information to those folks. So different ways to segment your contacts. You can use lists and you can use tags. I use a combination of the two. So that gives you that information. And this is shows contacts. If I left click on email lists, then I'll see a list of lists, and you can manage it from this point. I won't go into any more detail other than that. If you have some questions, call the toll-free number or call me. Be happy to go into more detail on that offline. To add contacts, and again, I'm not going to do this physically, just going to show you that to add contacts, you can type in one contact at a time. You can type in or paste, copy and paste in contacts. Minimum amount of data is an email address, but you can have first name, last name, company, phone numbers, zip codes, addresses, lots of different columns or fields that you can use for each different kind of list. And a given list or contact could just have an email address, or a given list or contact could have much more information. So you can use this as your contact management space as well. Most typically, for me anyway, I upload from a file. I'm just going to left click that just briefly to show you the types of files you can use. XLS, that's the old style Excel, current extension for Excel. VCV files, CSV, that's comma separated value, or text files. You can upload from any one of those types of files. Very simple to do. The other kind of thing that you can do, of course, is get your contacts from other applications, and that's Gmail, Outlook, Salesforce, QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online, a Capture Contact tool, and that's if you look in Signup Tools, that's the Capture Contact tool. Information is in there about that. It's a constant contact tool. And then you can search the marketplace. That's a constant contact marketplace to see if there are other integrations that allow you to use your contacts from some other program that you're using online to integrate or input them into constant contact. So these are all the different ways that you can add contacts to your contact list. And that's about all the further I'm going to go with that. Library. Library includes your images and documents. And let me back up just a second with contacts. Again, in this flow of creating an email campaign, I usually do my contacts first. You can do add contacts before you send out your email, but my counsel to you is do them before you get started on your campaign. Library. Library contains, again, all your images and your documents. You also have access to Big Stock. Big Stock is an image gallery that has millions, and literally millions of professional images for your use. Some of them are cost $8. Many of them are free. I haven't bought one out of Big Stock yet because of the number of free ones that there are, and you can browse that gallery. This is included in your subscription, obviously, and you can get access to it either to use paid or free images. The library comes up and looks like this. Over on the left-hand side is just a table of contents, if you will. There are 22 items. 21 of them are images. One of them is a document. So you get this kind of a row, kind of a list of your documents, or you can also, and I'm left-clicking up here on this icon, you can see them in this manner as well, if you'd rather look at them that way. And you can upload images to your library, or documents for that matter, by clicking on library and uploading them here. You can also do that dynamically while you're creating a campaign. So either way. Sometimes creating a campaign, you don't know exactly what it is you want to upload, so you can. That's why it's very easy to do that during campaign creation, or you can do it ahead of time. If you know what you need to upload, it's not already there. Better to do it prior to when you're going through the process, in my opinion. So I've got 21 images. I've got one document. That document is a PDF. It just gives me some other information about what's been recently activated, what came from my computer, what came from stock images, and what I've trashed. You can also put these images in folders. I have not done that in this demo account, but I highly recommend taking images, if you have a lot of images, and putting them in different folders so they're easier to find. Once you get about 100 images or 200, like I have in my operational account, if you don't put them in folders, they become extremely difficult to find, and you're scrolling around trying to find them. So use folders to manage your images. It's about all I'm going to say about images, other than to upload an image to your library. I'm going to left click on this, and I can upload from my computer, from social networks, from stock images. And this is probably something you haven't seen before. It's called the Artwork Tool. Artwork Tool is a tool that you now have access to through Constant Contact to actually create graphics from scratch. And you can do that before you start doing campaigns, or you can do that while you're creating a campaign, or you can create artwork that you use externally. So it's something to look at. It's what I call a cool tool. It is, if you're a little bit creative, you can do a lot with Artwork Tool. So that's how you upload. You upload items to your library. So we've looked at contacts, and we've looked at library. Now let's go into creating our campaign. And this is pretty much what you see now in the integrated set of tools for Constant Contact. In your campaigns, the campaign screen on the left-hand side gives you a directory, if you will, or a list of what campaigns you have. There are 8 campaigns that I have done in the past. They are not put in folders, although I would suggest that you do that if you send out for different reasons. I can look at the status. I have 3 drafts. 1 is inactive, and I've sent 4 out of here. And I can click on either one of these to find out which those are. And the different activities or different campaign types. 7 of the campaigns are newsletters and announcements. 1 is an automation campaign, and 30 have been deleted. And I'll talk more about automation in a minute. Down the right-hand side of the page is, again, a list of the campaigns that I have done. For those that have been sent out, I can get just a thumbnail of statistics, open rate, click rate. Again, I still have the drop down to do the different items that I showed you earlier. The one interesting piece of statistics that you should be looking at is up here at the top. Gives you an idea of how many of your emails that have been opened were opened on the desktop or opened mobile. Mobile is very important. Mobile responsive templates are extremely important because more and more people are reading their email on mobile. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So this is my list. A lot of times I'll create an email, and that's the format that I'm going to use all the time. So I send out that email, and instead of creating it from scratch, I come back here and make a copy of it and use it over and over again. My suggestion to you when you're creating emails, if you do it in that manner, is to create the email in the form that the campaign that you want, and put it aside, or save it, if you will, and then come back and make a copy of it and make changes to the copy. That way your original creation stays as it was originally, and you can just copy it over and over again. That's just a tip on making your own internal templates, if you will. To create a campaign, not just an email, but a campaign, any of the campaigns, I'm going to left click on the Create button. These are the campaigns that are available. I'm going to click on the View More down here to see all of them. If I have an email package subscription, then the only one that I can use on an ongoing day-to-day basis is send an email. If I have Email Plus package, then I get access to all of these campaigns, including events and registrations, promotions, which includes coupons, automating your email I'll come back to. You can create a survey, grow Facebook fans through promotions, collect donations, and create a poll. So polls and surveys. So this includes campaigns for all of the 4 different campaign types. Come back to automate your emails. 2 of the fields that you can put in your contact record is birth date and anniversary. Birth date, self-explanatory. Anniversary could be the day that the person joined your company, for example, or it could be their wedding anniversary, any date whatsoever. Automating your emails allows you to set up an email that will be sent to those individuals on that particular date, either if it's a birthday or quote anniversary, so that once a year an email goes out to those individuals. Really great way to do birthdays and again anniversaries to remind folks that you're thinking about them. The other thing you can do with automating your emails, perhaps you have a series of information that you would use to onboard a new employee or a new customer for that matter. Or maybe your story about your company, you don't want to send out in one email. It would be better to break it up in a series of emails. You can create those emails and then create a list in your contacts. And when you add a name or an email address to that list, then that series of emails starts being published to that particular person. The emails can be sent out at whatever schedule that you would like, 1 a day, 1 every other day, maybe 1 the first day and then 1 a week after that. You set up the schedule, but it allows you to automate some of your emails and your messages so that it makes it easier for you. Again, sending an email is the email package. Everything else, including email, is in the Email Plus package. So I'm going to send an email. First thing I have to do when I'm sending an email is to pick a template. Again, if you've used one before and you copied it, then you can just edit the copy and you don't have to select a template, obviously. But we're going to start with selecting a template from scratch. Up here at the top, you see 2 things, custom code and view new templates. If you want to do an email really from scratch using HTML, much like a web page, then you can use custom HTML code to do that. This gets you view new templates is a toggle switch to get you to the new editor, and we'll look at that in just a minute. This is the standard templates. There are over 400 of them. They have every subject in the world, or like this one, doesn't really have much formatting, and so you can do all of that yourself. What you do want to look for is this icon that's in the lower right hand corner. This tells me that this is mobile responsive. I can't think of any reason why I would not want to use a mobile responsive template, because it automatically adjusts to the size of the screen that the person is reading it on and makes it readable. So mobile responsive, when you see this icon, that's what that means. Look for a template like that to use. All of the templates in the new editor are mobile responsive. So I'm not going to pick a template out of here. I'm going to go to the new templates. Many of them are the same. It's a little smaller set of templates right now, although it's growing. And you can select a template to use as a basis for your email. One other item has been added to the top: import PDF to email. So if you have a PDF that you want to use as a graphic in your email, you can upload it and make it inserted as a graphic in your email. That can be very helpful. Again, these are the new templates. If I want to go toggle back to my what's termed here legacy templates, then I can click this and go back. one thing to understand: if you create an email in the I'll call it the old editor, but it's what is the current editor. If you create an email in what's now the current editor, you cannot edit it in the third generation or the new editor. If you create an email using a template in the third generation editor, you cannot edit that email in the current second generation editor. And the system knows which is which, so when you have that list of campaigns on your home page or your dashboard or on the campaigns page, whichever one that you want to edit, it knows which editor that was created in, and that's the one that you need to edit. If you want to use the new editor with an old email, it will need to be converted. And if you need some help doing that, I offer a service to convert second generation to third generation. Basically, it's a redesign. There is no converter, basically, but I can convert them for you. So these are the third generation, the new templates, very much like the current second generation editor. Holidays and different subjects. What you're looking for in a template is a layout, not particularly the content. If I like this one because it's got watermelons around the side and that's a nice color scheme, maybe I use that one and change it to say whatever I want it to say. So you're looking for a layout. And if you want to start basically from scratch, here's a basic newsletter, kind of a blank with just a place for an image that you can add to, and so on and so forth. I think I used one the other day. I'll use something a little bit different today. This is let's use this one. It's kind of colorful, has a border around it, which we can use. So I might want to take a look at it first. So I'm going to preview it. And so this is basically what it would look like when someone received it and opens it on the desktop. The interesting thing on the preview here on the third generation, I can look at it the way it would look mobile. I'm going to left click on mobile. So this is what it looks like on something that has a screen about the size of an iPhone. And whether it's a 4, a 5, or an iPhone 6, looks pretty much the same way. And I can scroll down through it, and I'll point out a little bit later how this has been modified to be mobile, the way it looks. So I can look at, yeah, that's kind of what I would want it to look like mobile. So I can go back to desktop, and I can go back to and select a different template, or I can, in the upper right hand corner, left click and select the template. So now I am in the third generation editor. Before I start here, do I have any questions on anything so far? Great, thanks. So this is, and again, I apologize for a little slowness of the internet here in our location, but we'll bring up the third generation editor. This is a drag and drop editor. Drag and drop editor that gives you a series of blocks to build your email. It does, it's structured very similar. The email is structured somewhat similar to your current emails that you're creating, but has a lot more flexibility. I'm going to start at the top and then kind of go down the left side and then down through the center. You should always start by renaming your campaign or editing the title. This is not really the title that anybody will see but you. Usually I do it with the date, so 160628 demo of third generation editor, and I can save that. That will show up in your campaigns list and make it pretty simple, because it's normally you see it alphabetically, although you can sort it by date as well. So that's the title I associated with it. As you can see over here, it's automatically saved, or I can save in between, undo, redo, whatever I'm working on. I can preview, and I'll come back to that and continue on to the next step. Preview allows you to look at it the way someone would see it on their desktop or mobile. Continue allows us to continue on to where we schedule an email. So that's what's up here at the top. A little bit different than the current editor, a little more functionality. On the left-hand side is the drastic change, if you will. We now have drag and drop elements, images, text box, if you will, buttons, dividers, spacers, social media, different layout sets that I can use. This is a image on the right, text on the left, two images with text underneath, an image on the left, text on the right, four images with captions or text underneath, title. The difference between this title and this title is this title has a background color to it, title block. This again is two images on the left with text on the right, and the last one is a coupon. What we found is that out of all of the capabilities that were offered with the current editor, the second generation editor, these are the ones that are used the most. And these are the ones that people use day in and day out, and that's why they are included in the new editor, and it simplifies what you're doing. Can I use some other layouts? Yeah, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So that's the building blocks, if you will. Images, kind of similar to what we currently have in the second generation, just so shows images, but I can upload a new image, and these images are drag and drop, and I'll demonstrate that to you in a minute. Colors. In the current editor, there were about 20 different things that you could change the color of. What we found was people were most interested in the outer background, the inner background, buttons and dividers and headlines, changing the colors of those. So that's what you get to do currently in the new editor. As you know, with Constant Contact, Constant Contact's always enhancing the products. So this will probably grow, but from my use of the third generation editor so far, and by the way, this has only been released to the field probably about 2 weeks ago. So from what I have sent out so far using the third generation editor, it has everything that I need to use anyway. So again, colors, images, building blocks. So how do you use that? Well, normally when you're building an email, you start top to bottom. So we've done the title. The first block at the top is the header block. I'm going to left click on the header block. It allows me to put in my from name, from email, reply email, and the subject. One tip about from name, put your name and your company in the from name so people know who it's from. I get emails all the day, it's from John Smith. Well, I don't know who John Smith is with, and I just delete it. Put your company name so people know who you are. From email address, subject, this is get your taste buds ready for these dishes. Great. I would make it a little bit more exciting by saying new menu items. Take some time to make your subject lines compelling, not just as many newsletters I see June newsletter. Well, that doesn't get me too excited. Say something about what's inside it. That will get people to open your emails more often. So this is the header information, from name, from email, subject line, and I have a whole seminar on nothing but this part, how to use it to get more opens of your emails, by the way. So I've got that done. I can go down into the email itself. As I move my cursor over the different areas or blocks, you can see that they are highlighted or outlined. And so I'm going to go through a couple of them. Right up here at the top, I call this or I don't call it, but it's called the pre-header text. Pre-header because it's above your header information, if you will, in the email. It's something that you can use to catch a person's eye. It usually appears in, if I'm looking on my smartphone or at email on my desktop, it's the line that appears of text that appears underneath the subject, so that it kind of catches my attention, so you can put something in here that is catchy or compelling. I'm going to use this as it's a text block. It's when I left click in that text block, this editor's toolbar comes up. Just like the current editor, many things you've seen before. I can select the font. I can select the font size. I can change the color. I can make it bold or italic. I can change whether it's centered, left justified, right justified, fully justified. I can have an unordered or just bulleted list, or a numbered list, hyperlink. I can insert a greetings tag, and I'll use that in a minute, or contact details. If you haven't used this before, this is pretty cool. Let's say in your contact record you have the person's first and last name, which is great. You have their company name and the state that they're in. You can insert those details into the email so that it might read, Dear Tom, good to see Mercon, my company name, on the call. That was on the call today. I hope the weather in Georgia, inserting the state in the email, is good today. So you can personalize your emails much more by putting in contact details. The greeting tag allows you to put in Dear Tom, Dear Jane, Dear June, whoever it may be. So those kinds of things I can insert into the email. This, of course, is trash. To get rid of that, and there's another way to do that as well. And when I'm through doing my edits, I just say I'm done. So I'm going to left click in here again to edit this, but when I just put my cursor on top of this block or this block, any block, over to the right hand side, I see three icons. The four arrowhead icon allows me to click and drag to move this, and I'm going to left click and drag it down underneath the graphic. And put it back up where it was. I can copy it. Perhaps I want to use this particular block again. I can copy the block and then move the second block below. I do that a lot with buttons when I'm giving somebody an action to take, or you can delete the block. That's a text block. The way that I got that text block, of course, it's already in the template. If I wanted for some reason to put another text block, let's say underneath between this block and this block, I go to the left side, I left click, drag and drop. What I'm going to attempt to show you is a magenta line across the screen. Go back over here. The magenta line that you see across the screen, if you let go of the left mouse button, is where that block is going to be dropped. So I'm going to release it, and it will drop the block there. Drag, drop. That works for all of these. In fact, it works for these particular blocks and the layouts as well. So if I want to insert something somewhere, I pick it, whatever it is, over here on the left-hand side, drag it, and drop it. The new innovation here is to it's what's called stacking. When you see something on a mobile phone, it's obviously narrower, and most of the images, if you're looking at a website that's a mobile website, the different blocks stack on top of each other. What I might want to do in this particular one is put an image over to the left of this particular block and stack it on the left side. So I'm going to take an image block, left click, drag and drop. There's actually two ways that you can put an image in a block. You can actually insert it in the block or to the left or right of the block. If you can see the magenta colored line that's on the border right underneath where my image is, that shows me where this block is going to be dropped. So I'm going to drop it in. So it is now stacked to the left of this text. In this particular editor, I can left click on the divider and make each of the blocks larger or smaller, depending on what I want to do. You can only put two blocks side by side, by the way, in the current editor. And what happens when you see this in mobile is this block stacks on top of this block, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So now I have an image block in here. I want to put something in the image block. I'm going to left click on the image. I'm going to insert an image. It will take me into my library and allow me to select the image that I want to insert. It's very much like the current editor. I'm going to insert this particular image. Much like the current editor, I can resize the image. Good practice to put in a URL, so I might put in the URL of my website here. So if somebody clicks on the image, it takes them to the website. I always want to put in alternate text in case people's images don't show up. So I'm going to put in cook like a pro. I can also replace an image, obviously, so I'm going to click Done. So now I have an image on the left and text on the right, and I'm going to preview that, see what it looks like on the desktop or on a mobile phone. You should always preview your emails or all your campaigns before you send them out. So this is the preview. There's a couple of things you can do in preview. So I'm now looking at in desktop. That's what a person who's looking at it on the desktop should see. I can also look at it to see what it's going to look like on my mobile phone. Note that the picture, the graphic that was to the left of the text, is now on top or stacked on top of the text. Same thing happens with the other graphics in this particular template, is they stack. As you'll see as we go down, these are to the left of their respective text blocks. So I can look at it on desktop or mobile. The other thing that you can do, and you should always do, is to send a test email. So I can take this email and I can click send a test email. I can send it to myself, or I can send it to others who may want to proofread it before it is sent out. Always test your emails before you send them out, so you know what it is that people are going to see. I'm going back to edit. So I'm going to continue down this particular template. Nice graphic, that's great. Announcing new menu items, great. Text, whatever introduction you might want. And this is a place where I would want to perhaps personalize this a little bit. So I would, and I'm going to click over here to be at the beginning of start, and I'm going to insert a greeting. So I can say hello, first name, last name, first and last name, whatever I might want, and put punctuation, whatever punctuation you want. If you don't have a first name or last name or whatever this field may be, then it's going to put in greetings. So I'm going to insert that. That's what that looks like. Usually you would want to do something like that to edit it. So hello, and the first name in curly brackets, that's where the first name will appear. Again, you can insert other fields within the text that are part of the contact details. Really powerful way to personalize your emails. So I like that. Yep, that's what I want to do. And visit us today. Great button. This button, again, if I left click on the button, allows me to put in a link so that when they click on it, in this instance, I probably would want to take them to my website where the full menu is. I can select these as usual, and I can change the color. Maybe I would like to make that blue instead of red. And again, left justify, center, or right justify. The other thing that you can do, and you can do this in the current editor, but it's not quite as obvious. If you put your URL in here, you can actually test it and make sure that it works. You can do that in the current editor, but it's not very obvious how to do that. So I'm going to left click the test button, and what this should do, and it won't because it's not correct. It might help if I do it correctly. Then it opens up my website or the URL, whatever you put in there. And I do invite you to go to our website and take a look at it. It's mercon.com. So I can change or insert that and do those edits, and I'm done with that. I can, again, adjust this particular graphic, which is actually made up of an image and two dividers. What you see here is an image on the right and text on the left. That's this layout right here. Again, text on the left, image on the right, text block, and a block with social media icons in it. The only thing that's probably not shown on here is a divider, so I'm just going to left click and drag divider. So that's the default divider. You can also adjust things with the divider as well. To make it look ever how you want to. So that's pretty much my content. Then I say, well, maybe I'd like to change the colors a little bit. So I'm going to look at colors. The outer background is red. I might want to change that to a purple or a blue. I had a question the other day, can I change what that image that's back there? No, you can't. At this particular time, can't change that image, but I believe I understand that it's going to be, you're going to be able to do that in the future. Inner background is white right now, and that's fine. I could change that to something else. As you can see, as I move my cursor over the different colors, it changes for me. Maybe a light yellow would be great. That'd be cool. So let's do that. Buttons and dividers. Again, if I want to change them all, I can change all the buttons and dividers to a different color. If I'm changing it to a blue, maybe I change the divider to blue. You can notice that the color that I made this earlier stays the same because I changed that color in that block. These are global changes. Right now, this is a title or a headline. Again, in line with maybe a blue kind of a color scheme, I might want to change it to blue. Now, what if some of those colors aren't exactly what I'm looking for? I want them to match my particular website. The thing that you can do is use a color picker. One I would suggest is called Color Cop, and I'm just going to show you Color Cop. If you go to Color Cop on Google for Color Cop, it's a free program to download. It allows you to have a color picker. This is a color picker, and I can use this eyedropper to pick a color. So let's say for some reason I want to make my titles the color of this pickle or this jalapeno that's in here. Then I can do that, and it gives me a hexadecimal number, 66660. Over here, my buttons and dividers were blue. I can look at more colors. It gives me a place to put in that hexadecimal number, so I'm going to do a Control-C on my keyboard to select that, and then I'm going to double-click, and do a keyboard Control-V to insert the number. You do not have to copy the hash sign. It will be put in there for you automatically. So if I do that and apply, then it's going to change my buttons and dividers, and actually in this case it also changed this particular border to that color. So that's how you can take the colors exactly off of your website that you may have online, and Color Cop will allow you to pick that color and put it into your email. The other thing you might like to do is to, because you don't have a graphic for it, maybe you want to go to some place and pick a color or a piece of a graphic off of another website. So let's say that I would like to take a piece of this particular graphic and use it in my website. I can do that with a Windows tool called the Snipping Tool. It allows me to outline something that I want to use. Copy it, I'm going to save this to my desktop. I'm going to close that. I'm going to minimize this. I'm coming back into my email, going over to build. So I want to put that image over here to the left of my block. If I can insert it in there, I just do it down here for illustrative purposes. I'm going to insert an image. I don't have the image, so I'm going to upload it off of my desktop. Actually, the easier way to do that is to look on the desktop. Drag it and drop it. Upload the file. I'm done. And insert it. And again, I can make sure that you have the right to do that, by the way. And of course, I can do the URL. It's a bad policy to go out and take pieces of graphics that you don't own. So I'm done. So again, two tools that you may not be familiar with: Color Picker, Color Cop, which is a color picker, and the Snipping Tool, which again is available in Windows, 7 and 8 and 10. Great tools to use to do your email. So I'm finished with my email. That's all the editing I want to do. It looks great in mobile. I've looked at it. I'm going to continue on. The last thing I want to do is I want to send it out. So that is scheduling my email. It's the same process every time. Determine which email what campaign you want to do. Pick a template if it's an email. Modify the template and then go to schedule, or the next item to schedule the email. I can select, now I can go back and edit it some more. I can pick a list that I want to send to. Maybe I'll just pick this list. Again, I can look at my subject, my from name, email addresses, the address that's going to go at the bottom, and make sure that those are correct. And I can either send it now or I can schedule it for later. If I schedule it for later, it gives me a place to put my date and time and send me a report for early results. I'm not going to send this out. I'm going to look at another email. I'm going to save it as a draft. Send it later. If you say send now, by the way, just keep in mind it doesn't go immediately. It's usually about a 15-minute delay. That's good news, by the way, because you may decide that you didn't want to send it for some reason and go back and make some changes and then schedule it again. The one thing so that's basically the process. I want to go back to one of our campaigns that I have sent out to show you how you can integrate with social media. Very important part with the integration in social media. So I did a demo the other day at the Barrow County Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to look at this particular email, left click on the title. again, pretty slow today. Give it a chance to catch up. Go back and close that. And wait for it to come up again. Again, this is not a constant contact. The reason I'm doing this is not the problem. It's not constant contact. It's a slow internet connection. What I wanted to show you, may not get a chance to do that, is how you can integrate social media. You have the capability to integrate your email messages into Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Going to try this again and see if we can have this one come up. If my internet connection will allow me to do that. Oh. I appreciate your patience. And we're still loading. So this was the one that we did today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to my campaigns again. Because I can't show you the integration without seeing one that we have done before and sent out. So I'm going to go back to campaigns. Again, I appreciate your patience. So this is one that was sent out previously. I can see for this one some of the statistics and the reporting, and I'll come back to that. At the very bottom is the social share section. Social share section allows you to schedule posts on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, assuming you have accounts on those, and you should have, all of you should, and it sets up a schedule for you. Of posts or messages that you can insert into those social media. And this is the schedule right now that it sets up. It says, okay, I think you ought to send an email today, a message today, and a message tomorrow. I can actually, once I create an email, send it out anytime after I publish it. So this says, have you checked this out? This is a short code or a short URL to the email. I can edit this message to whatever I might want it. I can insert a graphic over here through, there's 17 of them sitting here, or I can go into my images and put whatever image I want to along with the post. Click the drop down. I can send it to all three of these or just one. Usually I send when I'm doing this, a Facebook post every day for a couple of days, and a Twitter post maybe 3 times a day for a couple of days. And if I'm doing a seminar or webinar in advance, then I send it between now and when that particular event is occurring. So again, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all 3 of those you can post to. You can set up whatever days and whatever times that you might want to send out a post again, and you can say whatever it is that you would like. So I'm going to go back to go back to campaigns. So again, the new 3rd generation editor is a drag and drop editor, allows you to integrate or easily use blocks and different layouts to create compelling emails that you can send out in a mobile responsive format. So it's easy to get started. The thing I wanted to mention to you today is that this is great information, and I really appreciate the time that you've spent today looking at the 3rd generation editor, but information doesn't change anything in and of itself. You have to do something with it. So action and experience is what makes things different or change. So if you are a current customer, I invite you to look forward to the new editor, and in fact you can call Constant Contact and ask that you be upgraded to use the new integrated experience with the 3rd generation editor now. There will be a migration to the new editor starting in July, which is this week. So everyone that is does not have, that is using the 2nd generation editor, or that no matter when you started using Constant Contact, will eventually be moved to the new integrated experience that you have seen today. If you'd like to take advantage of it now, call Constant Contact, and you can be migrated earlier in most instances. If you're not a Constant Contact customer yet, then it's again easy to get started. Call me today, start a paid email only or email plus account. Email only account is just $20 a month, up to 500 contacts. Very inexpensive way to take advantage of this technology. And if you start today or before the end of the month, contact me. You can receive 30% off your subscription for the first 3 months at whatever level of contacts that you start. And you'll also get a free customized mobile responsive template that's based on your website or Facebook page as part of that subscription. If you're already a Constant Contact customer and have access to Constant Contact, if you're using email and want to upgrade to Email Plus, I'll send you some information about becoming a Mercon VIP customer. And when we do the upgrade, then I will pay the difference between the email level and Email Plus level that you subscribe to, and you'll get a gift card valued at that difference. Keep in mind that all the packages are no contract, 100% money back guaranteed, with toll-free American-speaking 24/7 coaching support included. My name is Tom Murphy. I am with Murphy Consulting. I really appreciate you being on the call today. I will send you an email with some links in it. The first link that is in it is a link to a survey, which will give me some feedback on this webinar today. It will also have a link to the recording and the slide set, which is used for today's presentation. One of the questions in the survey is whether or not you'd like to become a VIP customer if you're already a Constant Contact customer. Being a Mercon VIP customer allows you access to some additional information and training that's available, and And hopefully the most valuable piece is I'll be more than happy to take your calls and answer your questions on marketing email questions, as well as usage, if that's what's of interest to you. If you call Constant Contact, they are more into how you use the product on an operational basis as opposed to a marketing basis. I can help you with some marketing aspects as well. So again, I appreciate your time today. Are there any questions? All you have to do is type them in the questions area, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I don't see any right now, but go ahead and type in what you would like, and I'll be more than happy to answer them at this time. I don't see any questions, so for the remainder of those that are here, I'll hang around for a few minutes and be happy to answer your questions. Other than that, hope you have a great rest of the day and a great Independence Day celebrating our freedom.